No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of AEW Collision with AEW World's End just 1 week away. 2023 is coming to an end. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I do not recap Collision very often, but figured I would with World's End coming up in just a week. We had some more matches in the Continental Classic. We heard from Christian Cage. Let's get to the recap. We started off with Bryan Danielson versus Claudio, two members of the Blackpool Combat Club going at it. Crowd was very much into this. They were chanting AEW right off the bat. We had some mat wrestling. We had some grappling with these guys. They were rolling around, countering each other on the mat. They were putting on what you might call a wrestling clinic. Claudio did get the upper hand for a while. Big swing to Bryan. Bryan kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And then after the commercial break, Bryan was able to deliver an avalanche back suplex to Claudio. However, Claudio was able to kick out of that. Bryan applied the crossface, and Claudio got his leg on the bottom rope. Referee did not see it right away. Claudio managed to hit an avalanche suplex from the middle rope. Bryan kicked out of that. Crowd was chanting, "Fight forever." Claudio hit the neutralizer, but again, Bryan Danielson able to kick out. Bryan came back with the running knee, and Claudio kicked out. Then Bryan started to kick Claudio's head in. Claudio reversed and kicked Bryan's head in, and then Claudio targeted the bad eye of Bryan. He applied the sharpshooter, but then he tried to go for the recoil bomb because time was running out. We were down to the 20-minute time limit, and Claudio hit an uppercut, went for a cover, 1, 2, time expired. And this was actually the first draw in the Continental Classic. Great match here with these guys, as you would expect. And because of this result, Bryan Danielson advances to the Blue League final, and Claudio is effectively eliminated from the tournament. Strong start to the show. And then we had a match for the Trios titles, the Acclaimed, along with Billy Gunn, going up against Top Flight and Action Andretti. And during Max Caster's pre-match rap, he brought up how Andretti beat Jericho and then nothing came out of it. Billy did the crotch chop to Action Andretti, and Andretti responded with one of his own. And then they both tagged out after the commercial break. Top Flight started to build up momentum. Then Billy Gunn came in to break up a pin attempt. And you had Top Flight and Action Andretti triple teaming Daddy Ass. Billy Gunn fought them off, and then things started to break down. Everybody in the ring, Top Flight doing some dives, and Action Andretti nearly beat Max Caster, but then maybe a little bit of desperation. We'll see where this is going. You had Max Caster rolling up Action and what appeared to be a little bit of cheating by grabbing the tights. Max Caster gets the 1, 2, 3. Acclaimed retained the 6-man titles, the trios titles, whatever you want to call them. It was fine. Pretty standard match here. And then we had a clip of Hook, who has challenged Wheeler Yuta for the World's End pay-per-view. Now, I do not care about the FTW title at this point. It's just filler as far as I'm concerned. Like Hook is so proud to be the FTW champion. I mean, it's his dad's title, but it's like, whatever, man. Like, it's just a prop. It really is just a prop. We had Keith Lee wearing a Santa hat going up against the Machine Brian Cage. This was a meat match between these two big behemoths, and they traded some Hurricane Ranas, showing off their agility. Cage hit a tornado DDT and then delivered a superplex to Keith Lee. They did not break the ring with it, and the crowd chanted, "Holy shit." Cage hit the F5 or the F10, whatever he calls it. Keith Lee kicked out, and then Prince Nana pulled a cinder block from under the ring, and if you recall, that's what Swerve Strickland did to Keith Lee way back ago when they were feuding. Keith Lee was able to fight off Brian Cage and then picked up the win with the jackhammer. After the match was over, Keith Lee got on the mic and brought up the cinder block and said he has a house to tear down. Little reference to Swerve Strickland. It says he's going to tear it down brick by brick. Looks like we are finally going to get this conclusion to the Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland saga. But first, we have to see what happens with the end of the Continental Classic tournament. We had a backstage promo with Toni Storm. She talked about her title match with Riho coming up at the pay-per-view. And also, Mariah May talked a little bit, said she's good to go. She's cleared, and it's just a matter of when she's going to have her first match. Shout out to Ryan for being somewhat near where I'm at. Hope you're doing well, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you. We had Christian Cage come into the ring for a promo with his adoptive son, Nick Wayne, and he introduced Nick's mom, Shayna Wayne. And she cut her first promo since turning heel, and it was all right. I thought it was going to be a train wreck, but she actually did a good job. I mean, it was straight and to the point. She said, "How dare the fans boo a mother?" She said that Nick is her baby boy, and she watched Adam Copeland smash a chair into his head, and all she was doing was protecting her son. And she said there's only one man that cares about her son as much as her, and it's Christian Cage. And then Christian got on the mic and said that Shayna was working these terrible jobs to provide for her son. And he said that if anybody could understand that, it would be Adam Copeland, who had a single mom. And Christian said he scored in Quebec, Montreal, when he retained the championship, and he also scored another way that night. So yeah, looks like Christian and Shayna are a thing, but I'm sad. We got no kiss. I wanted to see the kiss, and we did not get it. And yes, Shayna was towering over Christian. I mean, she's probably taller than 75% of the roster. But yeah, Christian said he was accepting the no DQ match for World's End, but said that it's not going to be a challenge, and he's going to put Copeland down for the last time. So it was what it needed to be to set up the match. And like I said, the Shayna promo was fine, but we missed out on the kiss. We need the kiss at some point to really piss off the fans. We then had a backstage promo from Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and they think that Kenny Omega is scared. They don't think he has the guts to face them. See what they did there with that term? And then they said that they are going to party in New York City. Chris Jericho confronted them and said that he's still getting a tag team title match. He has a contract and he will find a new partner. But we still don't know when. We don't know if it's happening at the pay-per-view or down the line. They didn't really make it clear. We then had Brody King versus Danny Garcia in another Continental Classic tournament match. Now, Garcia was very much the underdog here, but he brought the fight. He slapped Brody King, and that pissed off Brody. And at one point, Brody was even daring Garcia to hit him. He was putting his hands behind his back and told Garcia to give him his best shots. And Garcia did, even managed to pick up Brody for a back suplex. But then Brody regained the upper hand with the King Kong Lariat. Garcia kicked out. And then Brody hit the Gonzo bomb. Once again, Danny Garcia kicked out. And he was just dead weight at this point. And they did the Survivor Series 1995 finish where you thought Bret Hart was done for. He was dead weight and Diesel was just standing there. And then Bret Hart quickly rolled him up and got the win here. Basically the same thing. Garcia all of a sudden turned it into a jackknife pin and got the 1-2-3 victory. Shout out again to Ryan, who sent in a $1 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Match was what it was. Like, it was entertaining for what it was. Garcia wins here, picks up the upset victory over Brody King. Then the lights went out, and we had the House of Black in the ring. Daddy Magic, who was out there on commentary, he tried to make the save, and he got taken out. FTR ran down to make the save, and they want a piece of House of Black. So I think we're gonna be seeing that match at World's End. They really need to fill out this card. I mean, I'm not complaining if it's a shorter card, but it's AEW, and you know they're gonna have like 12 matches on this thing. We then had our women's match at the 9:15 time slot. We had Skye Blue, who's got new attire. She's not Skye Blue anymore, at least attire-wise. She's Skye Black. She's dressed in all black. Julia Hart, the TBS champion, she's facing Abadon at World's End, which screams filler match to me. They were up against Thunder Rosa and Abadon. Thunder Rosa making her big return. This show was in San Antonio, Texas, and Thunder Rosa got a big pop in her hometown. Solid match here. I mean, it was a pretty basic match where you had Julia Hart distracting Abadon, and they worked over Abadon for a while. Thunder Rosa got knocked off the apron, so they were milking the tag. And then after the commercial break, Thunder Rosa came in and started cleaning house. Abadon was able to keep Julia Hart out of the picture, and Thunder Rosa pinned Skye Blue with the Tijuana bomb to get the win. No surprise here. I figured Thunder Rosa would win, and she did. And she looked good. I mean, she definitely seemed happy to be back, and we'll see where things go from here with Thunder Rosa. And then we had our main event of the evening, which was Andrade El Idolo versus Eddie Kingston in another Continental Classic tournament match. It was back and forth and competitive. Eddie Kingston's knee got hurt at one point, and he was selling that. Andrade did some of his big moves, like the Three Amigos. He came off the top, but Eddie was able to catch him with a kick. However, he landed on his bad knee while delivering this kick and allowed Andrade to regain the upper hand. Andrade went for the hammerlock DDT, but was unable to hit it. And then he hit the spinning back fist to Eddie. Eddie kicked out. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." And then Andrade was able to apply the figure four. Eddie got to the rope, and then Eddie managed to come back and pick up the victory with a brain buster, picking up the 1-2-3 victory. And now Eddie will face Bryan Danielson in the final match of the Blue League coming up. And after the match, you had Bryan Danielson come into the ring and having a little bit of a stare-off with Eddie Kingston, which is interesting because Andrade beat Bryan a few weeks ago, got that big win, and now it's Eddie Kingston versus Bryan in this Blue League final. But hey, I mean, Andrade at least got one good win, right? So better than some of the other guys in the tournament. So all in all, good show. It was an entertaining show. It's the first Collision I've recapped in several weeks, and while it was solid, like, again, it's kind of the same problem that Collision has had. It just doesn't feel like a must-see show. The wrestling was very good. Like, all the matches were really strong, especially Bryan's match with Claudio, worth checking out. But, like, if I missed this show, like, I feel like I wouldn't have missed a whole lot. Like, it was just your standard good wrestling show. So I give it a B. Good show. Not anything that I think was over the top great, but still entertaining wrestling show. And it's per the norm at this point. It's what you come to expect from AEW. You tune in, you know you're going to get a good wrestling show. And that's what it was. So that's my take. More of the same, whether you like it or you don't like it. It's AEW, and it was very much your standard AEW show. We'll see what happens on Dynamite, and that's when I will be back coming up. I'll give Jeff Meacham his plug. He's got open mic night. Jeff, I'm going to bed. It's been a long day, but thank you for the invite. You guys check out the Jeff Meacham Network for the karaoke show they're doing. They're going to be in the Christmas spirit. That should be a fun one, but I'm heading to bed. It's past my bedtime. I'm old. I'm over the hill, but I appreciate the offer, Jeff. And at this point, like, is it going to be Swerve or Jay White going up against Bryan Danielson or Eddie Kingston? What combo is it going to be? What's going to happen with Keith Lee? Time will tell on that. Jeff, one day we got to flip. You be here at 11 o'clock or midnight Eastern time, and I could be over on the West Coast at 8 p.m., and then we could talk about doing these karaoke's. It's easier said than done when you're on the West Coast versus the East Coast. And how some guys do it, I don't know. But I'm old. Like, 10 o'clock is my bedtime. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And I will be back Wednesday night. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Anything that you celebrate during this time, you're just having a good time with family, whatever you're doing. I hope everybody's happy and safe. Take care. Enjoy the next several days, the rest of 2023. And I will be back Wednesday night. We got no Raw because they're doing a tape show on Christmas. I will be back Wednesday night with Dynamite, and that'll be the go-home show for the pay-per-view. No Collision next week because they're doing World's End on Saturday night. And, of course, I'll be recapping that show. Live results on NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody. Say yeah to NoDQ.com. Buy a shirt with your Christmas money or your Hanukkah money. NoDQ.com/merch. Check out the Jeff Meacham Network for the open mic night. Watch it on demand. And I'll see you guys next time.